Morning students, I am Maushmi Prasad and creator of this channel Digital Generation. This channel is regarding chapter-wise preparation for both ICSE and CBSE students. I hope you will get best knowledge and explanation from this channel. Today we are going to study about lymph and lymphatic system. So what is lymph? Lymph is another circulatory fluid of our body which is present in lymph vessels and lymph gland. Lymph contains large number of lymphocytes like T cells and B cells, which are special types of white blood cells and are responsible for the immunity of our body. Lymph is white or light yellow in color because it does not contain any RBCs and haemoglobin. Lymph flows only in one direction, from tissues to heart. It begins at the lymphatic capillaries and ends in subclavian vein. This subclavian vein opens into the heart by vena cava, which eventually drains into the bloodstream by venous circulation. Lymph is very rich in fat because it helps in absorption of fatty acid from the intestinal villi. So, lymph acts as a middleman between the body tissues and the bloodstream. Now we will study about lymphatic system. In a nutshell, lymphatic system is a drainage system which removes excess body fluid and returns it to the bloodstream. Lymphatic system is a subsystem of both the circulatory system and immune system. So we must recall here what is the purpose of circulatory system. The main purpose of circulatory system is to bring oxygen and nutrients to the body tissues and remove wastes. This exchange takes place at the capillary bed. So blood plasma containing oxygen and nutrients such as amino acid and glucose moves away from the capillary bed at the arterial end, whereas the metabolic waste and carbon dioxide are found at the venous end of the capillary bed. At this site of exchange, not all the body fluid is drawn by the bloodstream. About 15% of the body fluid is left behind, and this is called extracellular fluid. And this extracellular fluid is then collected by some blind vessels known as lymph vessels, and this is the site from where lymphatic system begins. Unlike circulatory system, which is a closed loop and flows in both directions from heart to tissues and tissues to heart, lymph flows only in one direction from tissues to heart and are open-ended network of blood vessels. Lymph vessels begin as lymph capillaries, and these lymph capillaries are made up of overlapping of endothelial cells. These overlapping flaps serve as a one-way valve for the lymphatic system. When the fluid accumulates in the tissues, then it creates intestinal pressure and thus pushes the overlapping flap inward and thus opening a gap through which fluid can flow in. Now, when the lymphatic vessel is filled with fluid, then it exerts a pressure and then presses the overlapping flap outward and thus closes the opening and thus prevents the backflow of the fluid. Unlike blood capillaries, in which the gap is so small that many useful particles could not enter through blood capillaries, but lymph capillaries have large opening. So many useful large particles like immune cells called macrophages, large particles of protein and fat globules and many other important substances enter into the lymphatic system. Thus, lymphatic system acts as a useful way for many large particles to reach to the bloodstream, and lymph acts as a middleman between the body tissues and the bloodstream. Lymphatic system helps in dietary fat absorption from the intestinal villi. As lymph flows from lymphatic capillaries, it goes to larger and larger lymph vessels, and the flow of lymph is enabled by the same force as that facilitated by the flow of blood in veins. On the way of lymphatic system, there are many small bean-like structures which are known as lymph nodes. These lymph nodes act as filter and helps in cleansing of the fluid before reaching into the bloodstream. Lymph node contains macrophages and dendritic cells which directly swallow the pathogens which invade our body. Lymph nodes also helps in maturation and selection of the lymphocytes like T cells and B cells, which becomes activated and then are released to the lymph. And from lymph they are carried to the subclavian vein, which opens into the heart via vena cava and thus mixes with the venous circulation. These activated lymphocytes then encounter with the pathogens invading our body. Lymph nodes are found throughout the lymphatic network but are prominent in those areas where lymph vessels converges. Lymphatic system also contains lymphoid organs. The primary lymphoid organs are thymus and bone marrow. These are the sites of production, maturation and selection of lymphocytes. Selection is a process in which lymphocyte can distinguish between the self and non-self and can recognize and destroy the pathogens only without attacking the body cells. From the primary lymphoid organs, lymphocytes then move into the secondary lymphoid organs. They are spleen, lymph nodules and lymph nodes. Here the lymphocytes are activated and encounter the pathogens invading our body. Lymphocytes in lymph nodes also produces antitoxins and antibodies which are then released into the lymph, and this lymph then carries it to the bloodstream by venous circulation and are then distributed to the areas where they are needed, and there they destroy and kill the germs or pathogens which are invading our body. Now we will study about the formation of lymph. The lymph is formed at the capillary bed where exchange of nutrients and gases takes place. 15% of the fluid is left behind, which is known as extracellular fluid, and this is collected by some blind vessels known as lymph vessels, and once the lymph enters into the lymph vessels, it is known as lymph. Composition of the lymph. Composition of the lymph is similar to that of the blood, but lymph does not contain RBCs and haemoglobin. Rather, it contains large number of lymphocytes like T cells and B cells, which are special types of white blood cells and are responsible for the immunity of our body. Lymph is also very rich in fat because it helps in absorption of fat from the intestinal villi. Functions of lymph. Lymph is a very important fluid because it acts as a middleman between the body tissues and the bloodstream. Lymphatic systems helps in removing excess body fluid and return it to the bloodstream, which if accumulates may cause swelling. Lymph helps in absorption of fat from the intestinal villi. Lymph nodes helps in maturation and selection of the lymphocytes, which are then released into the lymphs. These activated lymphocytes then can encounter pathogens which invade our body. Lymphocytes in lymph nodes also produces antitoxins and antibodies which are specific to invading pathogens and are then released to the lymph, and these lymph carries it to the bloodstream by venous circulation and then distribute it to the areas where they are needed, and there they kill the pathogens or germs. Lymph also helps in returning of many important large particles to the bloodstream because lymph gaps are quite large, and so it allows the entry of many important particles such as large particles of protein, fat globules, immune cells like macrophages. All these enter into the lymphatic vessels and then are returned to the blood. So lymphatic system serves as a very useful way for large particles to reach to the bloodstream. Thus we can see that lymph as an extracellular fluid which is very important mainly for the immune system of our body, also in removing excess fluid from the body. In our next video, we will study about excretion in life process. Thank you for watching my video, and if you find my video useful, please do like and share my videos and subscribe my channel to get the latest update of my videos. And if you have any doubt regarding this channel, comment below. I will try to answer as early as possible.